Coach, what did you learn, if anything, from the exhibition?
I was pleased with the energy and effort our guys played with. I thought they played together, really shared the basketball, and competed at both ends of the floor. Obviously, a lot of things we have to clean up and get better at before Friday night, but overall was pleased with our guys' effort.
Seems like talking to Bryce and Miller, they kind of said transition defense, maybe a little bit something that y'all need to clean up.
Well, I think before you can become a good defensive team, you have to be able to stop the other team's transition attack. And there were just a couple possessions, even in an exhibition game, where we scored and then immediately gave up a layup at the other end of the floor, and that just can't happen if you want to be a good team.
Is that something that you're expecting to happen a lot as far as trying to speed it up from Illinois State? Because I know they like to run a little bit.
But they're a very athletic team. I think you'll see them in the open floor. They have some very skilled and versatile players. I think their point guard, Paris Lee, really makes them go. He's an elite level guard, all-league player, one of the better defensive guards we'll see all season. So I think it's going to be critical that we're able to get back and take away their easy scoring opportunities.
What's it like defending a team that wants to get out and run, such as your team?
Well, I just think, if you ask every coach in the country, how do they build their defensive team, I think they're going to start with transition. Obviously, it's a lot easier for an offense to score before the defense gets set. So we would prefer to be able to get back and get matched up and get organized before giving up an easy open three or a driving opportunity on the break.
You've got some returnees, and so do they. Last year, this game was very different at their place, very kind of grinded out game. What do you expect this Friday, if anything?
Really don't know. I mean, that's one of the things about these early season contests. Two really good basketball programs. I think both teams have good talent. Don't know how to compare versus last year. Neither team usually tips too much of a hand in an exhibition game, so we'll see. I know they have some really good players. 2 of the 5 preseason all-conference players in the Missouri Valley are returners for Illinois State, and then Deontay Hawkins, a third player. I'm sure it was right there in the voting, so we know we'll have to be ready to go.
We've preached on how many new players you got this year. What's it going to mean coming out in a game like Illinois State, a big program? You're kind of throwing them into the fire first off. What's kind of your mindset with that?
Well, part of it's just the scheduling philosophy here. We're going to play a lot of really good teams, good programs. I know we talked about it in the preseason. We're going to find out right out of the gates, kind of how we stack up. Playing Illinois State at home, then you go to Middle Tennessee State, an NCAA tournament team, then you play Wisconsin Green Bay, another NCAA tournament team. So, and all 3 are different styles at both ends of the floor. So we'll really get tested here early. That's why I want to make sure we're playing really hard, we really compete, because we're going to make a lot of mistakes, and we're going to need to make up for those things with our effort and our energy together.
Hawkins is kind of a big question mark for Friday. Is that something as a team, though, that you still try to prepare for?
Oh, we'll prepare for him. I hadn't followed the story. I don't know all the details, but I know he's a really, really good player. I mean, he's 6'8", probably 230, plays at the 5 spot for him and led him in three-pointers made last year. Can really shoot it. He really hurt us at their place, 16 points, 9 rebounds, terrific player. And really a tough matchup because he can do it inside and out. So we'll definitely have to game plan around him.
As a coach, are you glad to get to this point of the year when you can actually start doing your game planning with your team? I know you probably start that tomorrow since you don't have practice today.
Well, I think our guys are really excited to get to play. The good thing about the new rules as far as moving practice up is they get a little bit more rest time, but still at the end of the day, instead of practicing for a month going into the season, they've been practicing for 6 weeks. So I think all are ready to get out here and compete. Our players know we're going up against a really good program with talented players, and I think they're really excited about the opportunity.
As far as Adam and I were talking about this before, it's crazy to think this is a home game and then you guys are gone again for a while. What's it going to be like for you guys to make maybe leave just some sort of a positive impression on Friday?
I think every game, is its own deal. I mean, we got to come out and just compete for 40 minutes. We're going to be a work in progress. I don't expect us to come out and play our best basketball on Friday night. of the season by any means. I think we're going to make a lot of mistakes, but like I was saying, I want us to really compete, fly around, play together, and then we can continue to get better as we go along. You look at the schedule, then 2 Middle Tennessee, then your a neutral site tournament, but still 3 of the first 4 weekends of the season we're at home. So I like the schedule. We'll have to be ready to go every night, though. I know that.
You've said you want to play faster this year, but is that something that's going to be dependent upon who you play?
No, we plan to play faster, and like I said last week, don't misinterpret. Like we're not going to be like Loyola Marymount from the '80s and average 130 points a game. We played extremely slow last season, especially as the season went on. We needed to slow the game down even more, and I'd like to get back to a better pace. Last year, I think by the end of the season, we were around 63 possessions a game, and would like to see that total climb back into the lower 70s. And I think that'll be more beneficial for our personnel in our system this year.
How is G doing?
G's doing well. No damage to the ankle. It's an ankle sprain. Day to day, be in treatment. See how he progresses throughout the week.
Is it going to be you kind of hold him out of practice, I guess, maybe a couple days, or you just, like you said, just kind of see how it goes?
It's a day-to-day thing. Just waiting, got to get some of the swelling out, and he's feeling better. So we just got to see how he progresses. As far as practice, as soon as he's ready to go, he'll be back in there.
Terrell has an affinity for shooting the three, and I know you want him to do that. Mm-hmm. But who will you look to be your low post threat?
Well, I think in any of the 4. I think Terrell's a really skilled scorer down there on the block. I think Breon, with his size and athleticism, is really good at getting angles and finishing plays around the basket. I think you saw in the exhibition game a couple of his baseline spins and nice reverse layups that he scored. And then I think Jalen is really developing down in the post, and as is Gilbert. Gilbert's not necessarily back to the basket, but he's really active around the goal. Always seems to find himself around the basketball and can really finish plays above the rim in the traffic there in the paint.
Based on the exhibition last Thursday, how do you feel that your team's adapted changes for the season?
Hard to say. I mean, that game got going so up and down. There wasn't much half-court basketball, and I think that's where you're going to see those rules really come into play when you start seeing teams. Like I'm sure Friday night, when teams are trying to pound the ball into the post and score in the paint, we'll find out if we've adjusted or not then.
Breon looked like he'd stolen a couple plays from the Wayne Langston playbook on Thursday. Do you feel like the two of them, even though they didn't have a lot of time last year, do you feel like they were able to kind of come together and figure some things out?
Well, Breon, he's a worker, so he's going to keep getting better. As I said at the first day we met this preseason, the biggest disappointment with the knee injury was 6 months he missed out on the player development program on the basketball side because he's going to work in the weight room. He's going to be in great shape. He has a high basketball IQ, really understands how to play. He just needs the reps at the offensive end. He's a talented player. I think he's one you'll see just keep getting better and better with the more experience and the more minutes he gets.